Hey friend, thank you so much for jumping on my channel and joining me here today. Now I have got a wonderful class for anyone that has plantar fasciitis, maybe a little bit of foot or heel pain or even in the ankle. This quick little 15-minute video is wonderful, especially when I am feeling a little tired, when I've been on my feet a lot. I wake up in the morning with a little bit of heel and ankle pain, and little short videos like this, short sequences, make a huge difference in how my feet feel. Now in this class we do use a strap, but very briefly, and if you don't have one, you can do the whole thing without, or you can grab a towel or a belt. And then also a little massage ball. Now I have the rad kind, that's the brand that I really like using. However, you could just as easily use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball. Lacrosse ball might be a little bit intense. I do like the kind of squishiness that tennis balls have for us, a little not so dense. Anywho, grab your props. With or without a mat, you can be sitting down or standing for this one, but let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin with our strap or a towel or a belt, whatever you can kind of use. And this is a really short section, so no big deal if you don't want to do this or you don't have this, specific item. We'll be up on our feet using the ball in just a moment. But I like to start by bringing the strap or towel or whatever around my foot and kind of right underneath my toes. Sitting up tall and straight wherever you are, whether you're on the floor like I am or you're in a chair, is perfectly fine. But I just want you to take a great big inhale. Big breath out. And even though this is about our feet and not our posture, you can think about sitting tall and straight, shoulders nice and broad, belly button in, because posture is important all the time. But another big deep inhale. Exhale, pull your foot lightly forward. I think about bringing my toes almost up towards my knee and then pressing my heel further away. And then let that go. Big deep inhale. Exhale, pull your foot lightly up, getting a little bit of stretch to the back of that leg. Once or twice more, just like that. Each time I use the strap, I think about pulling my toes a little bit closer, sending my heel a little bit further away, and I get a deeper stretch. Now this next time we're going to pull and pause. And whether or not, you want to make it a little deeper or take it a little bit more shallow, we're going to begin to windshield wiper our foot side to side, getting some mobility in the ankle. Big or small, fast or slow. And then from here, I'm going to circle the ankle around. And I keep a little bit of tension in the strap, not a whole lot, but almost as if I am physically pushing the strap away with my foot and, just getting a little bit of extra mobility in that ankle. Opposite direction. And again, have you forgotten about your posture? Sit up taller, sit up straighter. And then again, straighten yourself out, and then let's go back to that little pull and push. Pulling the foot forward, pushing the toes away. Pulling the toes towards the knees, reaching it back. And again, the more I think about my heel extending further away from my body, the deeper that feels. Last time, pull it and pause, and begin those little windshield wipers. Back and forth. And if I didn't say this already, you could do this whole little set right here in a seat, like on your couch or on your desk chair. That would be totally fine. And then start those circles again. You do not have to be on the floor to do this part at all. Opposite direction. And then go ahead and let that go, and let's do the other leg. And again, you don't have to sit quite like I do. Do, whatever feels best for you. But find your posture, shoulders back, head high, tummy pulls lightly in. Big inhale. Exhale. Give your little strap, belt, or towel a tug, and find a little bit of a stretch to the back of the leg. One leg might be a little more tight than the other. That's totally normal. Our body is imbalanced. And then push and pull at your own pace. Waking up that ankle, getting a little stretch to the back of the calf. No big deal if one side just needs a little bit more care and attention. Again, our body is never going to be perfectly even from one side to the other, so don't beat yourself up if one side just feels a little funky. I definitely have one side I kind of have to pay more attention to myself. That's just a normal part of life. We're not little statues that are perfectly built from one side to the other. But again, pull it back, pause, and then start your little windshield wiper side to side. And then circle the foot around. Opposite direction. And then go back and forth again, starting from that beginning. Now you could, of course, repeat this process as many times as what feels good for you. We just did it twice on each side. Pull it back, take your windshield wipers. And this could even just be something that you do, halfway through the day. If you've been on your feet all day, you want to take a seat at lunch and kind of do some ankle mobility. And even if you don't have a strap with you, if you're at work and you're standing a lot, just sit down and move the ankle around, lightly stretch to the bottom of the foot, pulling the toes up to the face. You can still get that mobility, the benefit of doing it, even without the props. Not the end of the world. So eventually, let that go when you're ready. We're done with the strap. We'll grab our ball and come up to standing. Now, for the standing section, you could absolutely put your hand up against a wall, on a chair, something to keep you upright. It's not about the balance, but this is a little bit of a balance workout as well, just so we're all aware. Take that ball down and go ahead and bring it underneath one of the feet. Doesn't really matter which, we'll do both sides. And I want you to almost grip your toes around it. And at first, just lightly put a little pressure into it. And then we're going to stand tall and straight on the other side, and I want you to push the ball straight down towards your heel and then pull it right back underneath those toes, kind of wrapping around. We'll just go back and forth a handful of times, as fast or slow as you want to go. And you might find that it feels nice to pause in one spot and explore something. Always do what's feeling good and working for you. Don't worry, we're going to do all sorts of other little things. But if you want to, make your way into a specific spot on the foot, you can always do that too. And our balance might be challenged here. We might fall over a little bit. You might tip over. Who cares? Put a smile on your face. Know you're doing good things for your body. No one is watching you or judging. Now, eventually, after we start to wake this foot up, we're just going to bring it to our heel. And all I want us to do from here is lightly rock a little weight into the heel and then rock weight back into your standing foot. Rocking weight into the heel and then back into your standing foot. Just putting as much or as little pressure into the ball as, what feels good for you. You can also make all the faces you need to while we do this kind of work. Luckily, no one can see your faces, but you can see all my ridiculous faces if I get to an extra sensitive spot on my body. Now, one more time here, and then we're going to take it to the other foot, just so our standing leg doesn't get too tired. So like we started on the first side, wrap it around the toes. Take a moment, maybe put a little pressure in there. Enjoy that nice little stretch to the back of the calf if that feels good. And then start to pull it towards your heel and back. Pull it towards your heel and back. And remember, chairs, anything you need to balance, you can always do that. You can also do this whole section right here from a seat. You don't have to be standing like I am, but you might not get quite as deep of a feeling without all of your body weight that you're rocking into it, but that's okay. It's still a really wonderful and great benefit for things like plantar fasciitis or heel or ankle pain to do this kind of work, even if you're in a seat. Easy way to modify for yourself. And like we did on the other side, eventually we'll bring it to our heel and you can kind of rock it closer to your body if you've taken it further away. But I think about lightly flexing my toes, pulling them up towards my my knee as I rock my way into my heel and then back into my standing foot. Into my heel, back into my standing foot. It's not a whole lot of pressure, but enough that I'm getting some little feels there as I do that. No hurry, no rush whatsoever. And then let's go ahead and bring it back to our right side. Bring it underneath the right heel. And again, if you want to start with a little bit of a flex of that foot and pulling your toes up to your face, we're now going to spiral it around the heel. And we might begin to find some little crunchy places, some places that are a little extra tense, a little extra sensational. For me, there is a fine but distinct line between something being painful and something being sensational. Sensational to me is like, wow, that's a lot of feelings going on there. But ultimately, I know it's a good kind of feel, a good pain to some extent. If something is straight up hurting you, you should stop. We do not want to cause ourselves injury or pain. But a lot of times when we do kind of myofascial release work, it can be that good pain, that like, ooh, I'm getting a great big massage and I know tomorrow I'm going to feel really good. But we certainly don't want it to hurt. Now roll that ball in the other direction if you haven't. You can always move it back closer to your body or further away. No big deal. And if you did find any of those little crunchy places, those spots that, maybe need a little more attention, you can pause with it in that place and again, do that little light rock in and out. And maybe that's closer to the outside or inside edge of the foot. Maybe that's almost behind the heel a little bit. That can be a little awkward to balance there. Don't worry if you feel awkward. Nobody's watching you again. You're doing this for yourself. And then when we feel ready, we'll bring it to our other heel and we'll start that process with those little circles. Now, both sides, like I said, can feel very different. If this side, you get here and you're like, this feels good, but I want more time on the other side. You just push the ball back to the other side. You take care of yourself how you know you need to. And I like to keep my little Rolly products, all my little balls and rollers, foam rollers, all that kind of fun stuff. I usually keep these in my living room near my coffee table. And if I'm relaxing at the end of the day and I'm noticing that I didn't do anything nice for my body, you can just pull it out while you're watching TV and relaxing. Obviously, it's nice to have a video to follow along, someone to tell you what to do, but you can just kind of intentionally move it around your own body and give yourself a little bit of love, especially on our feet. Our feet deserve a lot more attention and care than we probably give to them. And again, after you've kind of rolled in both directions on that heel, once more if you found some extra crunchy spots that you want to like pause and do our little rock in and rock out of again, that is perfectly fine. Move at your own pace. You're doing great. And then from here, once more, bring it back to your first foot. And this time we're going to wrap our toes around it, press our back heel down. Now you might get a stretch to the back of the calf muscle already just from there, and that's totally fine. But if you want to take it deeper, you're going to step your opposite foot forward. It's like we're in a teeny tiny lunge, but it's very small. It doesn't have to be anything big because we want to keep our weight nice and even, and we don't want to put too much pressure into that ankle that has the ball underneath it. Most of my weight is in my standing front leg, and then I'm just lightly pressing the back of my heel down to get a little bit of a stretch through the back of my calf muscle. If you want to take it deeper, you just step your front foot a little further forward, and it's going to be a little bit more extreme, but it's just about, how it feels for you. It's not about looking like a certain pose whatsoever. And I can usually hang out here for a handful of minutes, maybe not minutes, but handful of breaths, sometimes lightly rocking in and out of my front leg. Then we're going to hop that foot back and bring the ball to the middle of your foot. And from here, I'm just going to sway the ball from the right side of my foot to the inside left part of my foot, back and forth, out and in. And I'm actively flexing my foot as I do this, kind of turning on the muscles in the feet. But you can soften the toes too and more relax into it. Just do what's feeling better for you. Now, after I start that inside to outside kind of rock, I will take the ball a little higher towards my toes and do the same thing. And then I take it back down, kind of zigzagging all the way towards my heel. Just going back and forth, moving and grooving at your own pace. Ooh, making any faces or noises you need to when you hit an extra sensational spot. And we can stay there as long as you want to, especially if you found a really good sweet spot that you just know that you need that extra time and care. That's fine. But otherwise, we'll bring it to our opposite foot. We'll wrap our toes around, and remember at first we're going to do that little calf stretch by stepping our opposite foot forward and then maybe lightly leaning into it. And again, you might find that one side feels way more tight than the other. Now, I didn't say it on the other side, but something that can help deepen that feeling of stretch to the back of the calf is making sure that our pelvis isn't tipping back. We want to think about turning on our tummy muscles, lifting up and out of our waist, and it's almost like someone is pushing your back glute lightly forward while you press that heel down. And again, you might rock forward and back, or you can always adjust exactly how you're standing to find that deeper stretch. But I am still thinking about my posture, even though, again, this is not about our posture, it's more about our feet. But our whole body is interconnected, and we can always think about lovely, bright, beautiful posture so we can keep that in the forefront of our mind. Now, when you feel ready, we'll hop that foot back, find an easier place to stand, and then pull the ball towards the middle of the foot. And just like we did on the other side, we're going to rock it from the inside to the outside edge, just kind of side to side. Now, as I mentioned, I like to actively flex my foot. That feels better in my foot. But if you want to soften the toes and kind of relax the muscles, that's okay too. Do what works for you. Once I've gone back and forth through the center of my foot there a couple of times, I'm going to pull it up towards my toes, towards the ball of my foot, and then zigzag it down towards my heel, taking it back and forth at our own pace. No hurry, no rush. Ooh, and again, if you find an extra sensitive or sweet spot, know that that might be, your body telling you, hey, can you spend some extra time there? Or maybe you need to back it up. That's okay too. You know what your body needs. Your body is so much more intelligent than a lot of times we give it credit for. So as long as you're, being mindful, being kind and gentle, you're going to be doing really good things for your body, doing things like this. And then eventually, all we're going to do is step off our little ball, and as always, give yourself a great big pat on the back. Thank yourself for doing something so good and just for you. I certainly hope you enjoyed class today. I hope our feet are a little bit happier, and I cannot wait to see you again.